So what if I told you that the reason you find a certain Hollywood actress just completely mesmerizing has, well, less to do with artistic beauty and more to do with, like, cold, rigid calculus?
Yeah, I mean, we tend to think of attraction as this, mystical, subjective spark. But underneath it all, our brains are actually running these really complex geometric and biological algorithms in milliseconds.
Right. Which brings us to today's custom-tailored deep dive, designed specifically for you. We are taking a stack of scientific aesthetic attraction sources, essentially acting as judges, and giving a final objective score to the beauty of Irish actress Dominique McElligott.
You probably recognize her best as Queen Maeve in The Boys or Lily Bell in Hell on Wheels.
Exactly. And we're basically applying mathematical and biological frameworks to decode the specific evolutionary triggers that make her face so, well, appealing on screen. Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Because if we are scoring human beauty like a math test, we need to look at the structural foundation first. Critics constantly describe her look as statuesque, and I really want to know why.
Well, our scoring framework backs up that label perfectly. She earns a 1.84 out of 2.0 for facial symmetry and a massive 1.90 out of 2.0 for averageness and harmony.
Great, averageness, like being average is a good thing here.
Yes,
Yeah.
surprisingly. In evolutionary biology, averageness isn't an insult at all. It just means a face closely aligns with a mathematical prototype.
Oh, which signals a lack of genetic mutations.
Exactly. Our brains find that incredibly easy and, rewarding to process. For instance, she totally nails the one-third rule, where the forehead, the midface, and the lower face divide into perfectly equal vertical sections.
Wow.
Yeah, and her intercanthal distance is also remarkably precise.
Okay, to translate that from medical jargon for a second, that just means the space between her eyes is exactly one eye width apart, right, which is known as the 1/5 rule.
You got it.
So her facial structure is essentially perfect classical architecture. Her DNA is handing our brains this really easy to process geometric blueprint, but she pairs that mathematical harmony with striking high definition cheekbones.
And that specific contrast is absolutely vital. The familiar geometry gives us the baseline of robust developmental health, while those pronounced cheekbones provide this HD contrast. It makes her face distinct and memorable, rather than, forgettable.
Right, but having a structurally perfect face is just the hardware, right?
Yeah.
What really brings this geometric blueprint to life is the software, like how the biology physically animates it.
Yeah, and that brings us to her healthy appearance score, which is a 1.8 out of 2.00. We see this super vividly in her eyes.
Oh, the sclera contrast.
Yes, she has a highly contrasting sclera, the whites of the eyes, which visually amplifies her blue-green irises. And furthermore, she exhibits a natural microvascular flush in her skin.
Right, and our primitive brains actually care about that slight redness in the cheeks because it signals efficient blood circulation and cardiovascular health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It instantly translates to peak reproductive vitality. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it acts as an evolutionary green light.
That makes so much sense.
But we also have to factor in her expressiveness, where she scores a 1.34 out of 1.50. Her acting relies heavily on controlled micro-expressive movements.
Yeah, she's very subtle.
Very. Yet when she flashes a genuine smile, she fully engages the orbicularis oculi muscles around her eyes. That creates a true Duchenne smile, which biologically signals deep, genuine warmth.
Wait, let me push back here for a second.
Sure.
If a warm Duchenne smile drives attraction, how does her specific career make sense? I mean, she frequently plays austere, morally gray, deeply intimidating characters. Think about Queen Maeve.
Oh, she's terrifying.
Right. Shouldn't projecting that intense, rigid authority actually hurt her overall warmth and appeal?
You'd think so, but what's fascinating here is how those intense roles actually do the exact opposite. Watching her competently execute demanding, high-stakes roles triggers powerful psychological biases.
Oh, like the halo effect.
Primarily the halo effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she appears so ruthlessly capable on screen, viewers unconsciously attribute high intelligence and massive social value to her as a person.
Wow.
And then you add in the mere exposure effect from seeing her recur in major prestige TV shows over the years, and our brains develop a strong, familiar affinity for her presence.
So it's compounding.
Exactly. When you combine her baseline posture, grooming, and that grounded demeanor, she pulls a 2.36 out of 2.50 in the other factors category.
So what does this all mean? It means that confidence and quiet authority aren't just cool personality traits, you know? They literally trick the audience's brain into perceiving higher physical beauty.
Which leads us to the final verdict. When we tally the geometry, the biological vitality, and the psychological impact on this scientific attraction scale, Dominique McElligott scores an elite 9.24 out of 10.0.
9.24. That puts her solidly in the exceptional tier.
It really does. It proves her beauty isn't just one isolated metric. It's a perfect storm of flawless biological symmetry mixed with our own psychological projection of her competence.
So that architectural blueprint we talked about earlier, it turns out it's not just physical architecture. It's psychological architecture, too.
Absolutely.
So here's a thought for you to take away. Next time you find an actor undeniably magnetic, ask yourself, are you actually admiring their physical symmetry? Or has their on-screen competence simply hijacked your brain's halo effect?